Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Workers Podcast, where we'll dive into the story of a man whose life and career embodies resilience and service. My guest is Kem Riley, a dedicated advocate for labor rights and the current president of the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union, serving in this office for an impressive 3 consecutive terms. Mr. Riley is also a senior industrial relations officer with specialized training in industrial relations and a proven track record of success. Now, over the years, he has represented hundreds of workers at the shop level, the labor department, and the industrial court, where his preparation, knowledge, and commitment to fairness have often made the difference. He is widely respected. He's a level-headed and reasonable individual, yet a very firm approach to negotiations, qualities that have earned him the trust of both workers and employers alike. In this conversation, we'll trace his journey from humble beginnings and entry-level jobs through his rise in the world of work to his role today as a seasoned leader in the trade union movement. We'll also explore the values, lessons, and life experiences that have shaped his path. Let us welcome Brother Kem Riley to the Workers Podcast.
Good afternoon to our listening public and all our members who follow the podcast.
Now, let's jump right in because I'm sure our viewers and listeners are curious to learn more about your life experiences and the things that would have shaped you over the years. So tell us a bit about your early upbringing in those early years.
Well, I'm Anderson. Really and truly, I'm from Seaview Farm. My young years, that's where I started all my growth. My mother is Daisy Bell Benjamin Riley, and my father is Clifford Riley. And we lived at Seaview Farm for quite a while. And I've also had the opportunity to live in the town at Grey Hill. So I'm able to say that I've experienced country life and town life. Then around 12, so we went to the Potters village to live, and I'm still living there up to this day. Now, my mom, Daisy Bell, single parent. Even though she was married, my family went through, kind of a sad situation where my father fell to mental illness. And for all my years up until he died, he was in the mental hospital, Clearview. So even though, a married mother, she still had to struggle. She had to do 2 jobs. And the happy part about it is that she didn't just say, well, I am a single parent. I am just going to not, do the best for her children. And it is she have 3 children, 3 boys. I'm the eldest of all the children. And she sent all of us to St. Joseph Academy.
Wow.
This is a lady who did a government job, making $200 and something a week. And her other job was cleaning houses like a domestic. And she made it sure that her children got good education. So, with all the sacrifices, she sent us and we're Catholics. So we went to, well, for me, I started at the Holy Family School.
Okay.
And most people that is my age will know Holy Family School. And that's the annex area on Church Street. That abandoned building, that was a school, that was the Holy Family School. Then it evolved into St. John's Catholic Primary School. So I continued thereafter, then to St. Joseph Academy. I then went to the Antigua State College, where I did accounting and graduated with a diploma. After, it was much, as I said, much hardship. I could tell you that, when people were wearing name brands, we know nothing by the name of name brand. And I think raising that way has shown that the finer things don't mean or don't make you a person. It's your mindset,
Yeah.
being humble, being able and easy to talk to. And I think those are things that, has ingrained in me to make me the kind of person I am. I believe in humility. I believe that you must be humble. I believe in being there for people. And that's the reason why, I went into the service industry. But graduating from the state college, I did accounting.
Okay.
And, I went to the distribution, um, which is Premier Beverages,
Yeah.
as my first job. I went there as an intern first, and then they called me back shortly after. And, I went there, I did inventory clerk. I was an inventory clerk. I then elevated up to start to send the vans out with all the items because
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
wholesale place, and I had to do the month-end inventory and those kind of things. And as a person who believes in my rights, I found that the salary at the time was not something that was adequate for the type of work and the amount of work that I was
Yeah.
doing. And I did approach, the financial controller, having a conversation, because I think that's what the process should be. You have the conversation with the person who is next, or your supervisor, and there was no resolution. So what I did, I went to the person above her, which was the director, and he too didn't really appreciate what I was saying with the workload and the salary. It was $1,200 a month, not a lot of money really. And I did try to negotiate, because when I went there, I was able to peruse all the files, and I see the job description and the pay for the roles. And that role was at $2,200 at the time, pay, and I was negotiating. Give me 18, and while I continue to develop, then you can move me to the 22. And they shut me down. They say no. So being the person that I am, I started to look a job. I started to look a job, and I have to give kudos to Isilma Peters, because she was the housekeeping manager at St. James's Club. And I reached out to her, and she told me, come. I know they said to resign from your job, but I didn't. I just
Okay.
left. I didn't say bye. I didn't say anything. I didn't have anything to pick up in the first place. So I just left and went to St. James's Club. And I began my service at St. James's Club as a houseman. People must understand, a houseman. A lot of people look down at houseman, think that they're the lower end of the employment. But the job is not what it is. You make the job.
But were there any reservations in your mind moving from the position that you had at Premier, even though it wasn't paying enough, but in the context of society, it may have been considered, I suppose, a more prestigious job than being a houseman. Were you concerned about the
I wasn't.
perception or
No,
anything
I
like
wasn't.
that?
But a lot of people did approach, because I look nice in my long sleeve and tie going to work. And when they saw me, because the uniform at the time was a plain white shirt and a
Yeah.
khaki pants. And I was going to the hotel wearing that as a uniform. And they said, where you working? I said, St. James's Club. What you do? Housekeeping. I'm a houseman. I clean glass, clean rooms. And they said, you left that nice job over there to be houseman? But I made more money as
Yeah.
a houseman than as a accounts person.
Wow.
Okay, and I didn't have to use my coconuts, as you would call it, because to balance and do all kind of thing at the end of the month as an accountant is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's more, you're not physically tired, but your brain is
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
And I did so at St. James's Club for a few years, until there was a hurricane, and the hotel was badly damaged, and everybody was paid off at that point in time. So I was out of a job at this point in time. Being the person that I am, I become an entrepreneur. I write poems. I used to write poems, and I went on the street. Those guys from Potters on by Royal
Oh,
Bank.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
went there. I stood there. I did a design poems for you. So I wrote the poem, you tell me what you want, and I write the poem, then I put it in a frame, colored and everything. And I did that for a while until I then went to Jumbie Bay Resort as a dishwasher. Again, a low-end job. A lot of people were saying dishwasher, but no job is a bad job.
Yeah, yeah.
No job is. And my mindset was, you take the entry-level job to elevate yourself. So I stayed as a dishwasher for around 3 years. And then again, hurricane came, Jumbie Bay closed, then they reopened. I applied for front desk. I didn't get through the front desk, but I got through with being a bellman, which is a part of front desk.
Yeah.
Two different managers, but it's still somewhat connected. We have to work interconnecting with the front desk department. And I continued to work as a bellman until, again, the hotel closed in 2008. Now, how I got to become a union officer?
Wait, stick a pin there. So I'm listening and
Yes.
I'm connecting the dots and I'm seeing some things and I'm trying to decipher some lessons
That's
that
all right.
will help our audience, young men and women in the world of work. And what I'm gleaning is that nothing is wrong with starting small.
Not at all.
Nothing is wrong with starting at the low end, because it's not how you start, right? It's how you finish.
How you finish. Yes.
And the vision that you will have ultimately in mind.
Yes.
You see a big tree outside, right? It doesn't start big. It starts as a seed.
As a seed.
So I think that's an important lesson that we can hang on to.
I'm hoping that the viewing audience and young people, because this is something that we've been hearing from HRs, that as soon as a young person, think the money is not enough.
Yes, yes.
They just go and they left, and it's not that they have another job going to.
Yeah.
It's just that they rather be home rather than be, stressed at the workplace where they think that they're not making enough.
Yeah.
Now, I agree. Compensation is always the ultimate thing, and that's the reason why I made my move from Premier Beverages, because I think I was undervalued. But if you're not moving to some place, then you can work your way up. And we always said to everybody, don't be stressed at the workplace and feel unhappy.
Yeah.
Because that alone is a mental health situation.
Yeah.
And I took that bold step. At that point in time, I knew people, so I was able to connect and get a job shortly after, because it was now December, and they were looking at people to be employed at the hotel. So I got in. I wasn't out of a job for no long time. So and that was a good thing. But when I was at Jumbie Bay, one of the things that really intrigued me about the union, and the first point of contact that I had with the union was Chester Hughes, Brother Hughes. It's a situation whereby any problem that came up, I would be the one calling Chester, and everybody would then start come to me. So I became a shop steward along with Paula. So we had 2 shop stewards, and back and forth, we were in discussions. Everybody always seek me out for representation, and one day I saw Mr. Bass, Henderson Bass, God rest his soul. He was sitting around the bar, and I thought he was a union man. And I went up to him and said, I want to work at the union. And he said, that's a good idea. Speak to your union officer. So I said, you're not the union officer? He said, no, I represent the employer. But I like that you are looking at representation and representing people. And I did. I went to Clarence Crump and Maurice Christian. Those were 2 officers that represented Jumbie Bay Resort. And at the point in time, Mr. Christian said, well, we're not looking to hire. We're not looking to hire. And I understand, because, if there's no vacancy, there's no vacancy.
There's none, yeah.
Right. So, but I still kept it in mind, and I continue to represent the employees at the shop level most times. Then, as I said, when we were reaching to closure of the hotel, myself and my co-worker, we went into work a morning, and there was some misinformation that we didn't get as the bellhop. And the room that was supposed to be picked up called the manager, the general manager of the hotel. And he came down and he behaved badly on us, shouting and expletive and all kind of things. And I said to my coworker, that behavior, I'm not going to stay. I'm not going to work today. And he told me, if you're leaving, I'm leaving too, because I'm in solidarity with you. And we left for the day. At 10 o'clock, they called us. Where are you? I said, well, until the manager apologized to us, we taking our action. And that sparked a disciplinary situation. So when we heard that we were supposed to be going to a disciplinary hearing, we came to the union. And we came and we saw Brother Keatlin Smith.
Okay.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
And he listened to both myself and the other employee, and he came with us to Jumbie Bay. When we are at Jumbie Bay in the meeting, Keatlin Smith looked at me and he said, talk your piece. I know he's the union man supposed to talk for me. But he said, talk your piece. And I put my argument. And the company accepted my argument. They told me to come back to work. The other gentleman, he didn't have the fortunate situation to come back to work, but he was paid while he was home. And then I said, well, I should have been home and getting paid too. But, you know, at the end of the day, we came out of that meeting in good standings.
Yeah.
When we reached back over to Antigua, Keatlin Smith called me and he said, young man, you never thought about working at the union? And I said, yes. I've spoken to Maurice Christian about it, and he said there's nobody. The response wasn't too pleasant because he was of the view that Maurice don't want young people down at the union. So that's why he would tell you that. And he told me to apply to the union. Luckily, Jumbie Bay was closing in a matter of a month. So that's why I said the young man worked for a month, because we were closing. Because of renovation. And in 2008, June, we were severed from Jumbie Bay Resort. And then I came to the union 1st of July and started to, you know, familiarize myself with the laws, looking in the labor code and those kind of things. And then 1st of August, 2008, I was employed at the union. So it is, and I must make mention of my interview.
Okay.
Because, you know, I had long hair. Most people that know me back then would know that I had long braided hair. And one day because I did ad hoc jobs, I used to clean the glass of the Shaw's Chief store and up at the big Shaw's Toys and Gift.
Yeah.
I used to clean those stores, the glass in the afternoon and those kind of things. And one day I was on a ladder with my hair all let go. And this gentleman, I didn't remember him, but he stand up and say, young man, why you have your hair like that? If you lose it out, put it in a scrunchie or something. And because I am such a respectable person and humble person, I said, I understand. When I came to the union for the interview, guess who was there? That same gentleman. So I'm saying, if I was disrespectful, I would have now put myself in a position where in an interview he would say, you're a rude person. So it's always good to be respectful.
Correct. Yes.
And you don't know who the person is. Because I didn't remember him as a union man. I didn't remember him as anything. He just stood up. He said, young man, why you have it here like that? And I respond in the positive, you know, and I understood what he was saying. You know, in the interview, you know, I even remind him of it in the interview because I'm sure he didn't remember. But those things don't leave your mind. And, you know, in the interview, as I said, I was then hired as of 1st of August, 2008 as an industrial relations officer. I came to the union. I went around with Brother Hughes. He was the one who, you know, showed me the ropes. Because I came out of the hotel industry, you know, and he was more gate at the hotel. We went all around. I got to know the hotel association agreement and those kind of things. Shortly after, Brother Hughes went into politics. So I now had to make sure I am now the person who is going to be dealing with all these properties. Because in 2009, there was a general election, and he then won his seat at on these and St. All Saints East and St. Luke. So I had to dive in. After Chester did a good job, showed me the ropes, so I was comfortable. Still a bit nervous because I was new, but even to present at staff meeting, I was still kind of nervous. But I know doing it repeatedly would then give me the confidence. And I would say that I am more confident than any officer now in the union. Now, so I continue. I then became an executive member, a floor member at our conference. Then subsequently after, I became the first vice president under the Ezrom Roberts, who preceded, well, who was the last president before me. And his term done or finished, and then I was nominated, even though I didn't nominate. I wasn't looking for the nomination. As you're aware, our union is made up of sections, and my section was looking for a female to take over the role of president, and we would have nominated Sister Luke. And it seemed like because of the Constitution, requirement of the Constitution, she could not have run. And Brother Clarence came to me and said, "Do not decline." So I asked him, "What do you mean by don't decline?" Because I know I didn't ask anybody to nominate me as the president. So when the names for the presidency came up, it was myself and Brother Abraham for the aviation section. So I said, "Oh, that's the reason why they said not to decline." Because if I declined, then Brother Abraham would have been the president automatically. So the process happened. The vote had happened, and from 2019 September, I've been the president of the Antigua Workers Union. Let me say, I always believe in being humble, and even to this date, I have not used my position as if I'm supposed to push down people because you're president. I believe that as long as management, because some people look as the president as a part of management, management must recognize that employee give you their best when they are comfortable with you. You must be stern at times, but I always say in meetings, and I've done training that says, you are a part of the team. And it's not you or I, it's us. And I think that I've gotten the support from all the members here at the union over the past 6 years as the president. And, next year, September, is when another election will come, and then you will have a new president. As you said, I've done my 6 years, which is 3 terms, and I have to recuse for a period of 2 years, and maybe somebody vote me in again down the road as the president. But I'm sure that if the president that is installed is doing a good job, he will have my support, or she will have my support. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to build one another at the union. My experience, Brother Edgel, is that you must listen as an officer. Your job is to listen to the members. Some are just here to exhale, to have a conversation. Not for you to tell them if they're right, wrong, or indifferent. You have some people that have come into my office and have spoken about private things that have nothing to do with work. And I think that is what is lacking in our society. Nobody know where to go to have a conversation. When I have staff meeting, one of the things that the employees say, the HR is not confidential, so they can't tell them their business. So who do they go to have a conversation? You can't go to your mom, because your mom might then be I'm looking at you and saying, I told you so.
Yes.
So I always tell people, the union is yours. You come, you have a conversation. You don't have to be about work, because this is what our job is to hear, listen. And if you think that you want a view on what you're asking, we can give a view. We can, give you some advice. But most times, I think for the people that I've had conversation with, they're not looking at advice. They're just looking to have a conversation.
Wow.
They're looking to exhale, and the mental health is what we have to look at as a union. Yeah, we've had discussion with sending them to therapists and counselors and those kind of things. And when people start hear about that, they think about, oh, people think me crazy. Not recognizing it. It's not about crazy. It's about speaking out.
Correct.
Because building it up inside is what takes an employee down a wrong road.
Yeah.
So a lot of people come in. If it's one thing, Mr. Riley, you're easy to talk to, and they don't see a judgment on my face, because we're not supposed to judge people. Because I came from a humble beginning, a mother that didn't have anything but sacrifice, I see life different. I see that everybody will have challenges, and everybody is trying to make it. And the reason why I use this approach, this soft approach, and yes, I have a soft approach most times. Some people might say, oh, Riley, too soft. But I'm of the view that sometimes the soft word is what gets a settlement.
Yeah.
When you go in shouting and blazing and everything, sometimes the manager just say, well, if that's how your demeanor, then take me wherever you want to take me. So they say, you have to go through the process. Coming in, soft approach, having a discussion can bring resolution easier. And that's how I handle things.
Yeah.
Some companies, if they don't want to agree, they're not going to agree. No matter if you shout or you're soft.
Yeah.
Because some people just take a position. But I'm of the view that one of the person who would have really spoken to me when I started this job is Miss Martin from the Employee Federation. And she said, Riley, learn from everybody. Adapt your own style. Not because Brother Hughes blow off the roof mean you have to blow off the roof. But at times you may need to blow off the roof. But do your own style. And I've taken that on board, and I've always done so. When there's time that you have to get stern, you just have to get stern. Because you have some managers, I've been in negotiation where they're busting bad words on me and those kind of things. And I don't return that, because I don't think I wasn't raised that way.
Yeah.
Not to speak. My mommy never even heard me spoke a bad word yet.
Wow.
Because I've not been raised that way. So, and I said to them, you're disrespecting not me, because I never take the disrespect to be me. You're disrespecting the union.
Yes.
Because I am a representative of the union.
Correct.
So even if you cuss bad word at me, I don't take you personal. I think you're disrespecting the union. And that's where I always hold my viewpoint. It's never me. It's the union, because I am a representative of the union.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to have been given the opportunity to serve people. I'm happy when a person matter is settled. I'm happy when a person can leave the union and say, the union represent me well, even if they lost. Because they realize that the union did their best to get a resolution. If I have to tell you about the industrial court, I started to put documents together with Keatlin Smith, because he was the one going to the industrial court. So if there's a matter, he will come, Sonny, I have a document for work on. I'm the one that types it. He dictates what he wants. And so happy that now we had the deletion in computer, because if we were using those old-time typewriter, then we'll have to throw in a lot of paper.
Yeah.
Because he come back and he thought about something over the night and he changing it and whatever it is. And, I went with him to the industrial court, took the notes, and then one day we prepared a document for the Mill Reef security officers, because Mill Reef at that point in time would have made all the security officers redundant. And the union find that there was no redundancy because they hired an outsourced security company. And myself and brother Smith put the case together. The morning of the case, I did trying to get on to brother Smith. When I called brother Smith say, "What you call me for? Go and handle the case." I've never stood in front of the president of the court at any point in time. I always be sitting writing. So he said, "You can handle it, you know the case. Go and do it." And I'm there shaking in my boots that now I have to stand up in front of the industrial court to make a presentation for these employees. Comfort was there because QT Benjamin, the Attorney General, Honorable QT Benjamin, he was representing some of the workers.
Okay.
So when I went, he was sitting on the employee side. So I sat beside him and he asked me, "What do I have to
The
submit?"
learned lawyer
The-
asked
me.
the IR officer, the junior IR officer.
First time in the industrial court because we prepared what we were looking at. And, he asked me, what I have, what I think we should look at. And then the president of the court started with the remark that he thinks it's the union's fault why the company had to make the employees redundant.
Okay.
Because in negotiations, the company was saying that they are financially strapped and the union forced them to give a 7% increase. So it was the union fault. And when he said that, Mr. Benjamin reached over to me and said, "Mr. Riley, you heard what he said? You understand what he said?" I said, "I understand what he's saying." He said, "Let me see what you have." And the proposal that I had is what the attorney would have said, "That's a good proposal. Let us put it forward and see if the company accept." And the company did accept, and that matter was settled on behalf of the employee. And since that time, I've then represented a number of employees in the industrial court on my own most times. And I'm happy and proud to say that I did lose a case just the other day, but it's a matter where I knew that it was a hard case, but it was already started by the mentor, Mr. Smith. So I said, let me see if we can get it a win with it. But we didn't win because of what the situation was. But those matters that I've taken to court, because I've always believed in telling an employee if they're going to win or not, because it don't make sense. We can go to Labor Department, and if Labor Department, because a lot of employees think, well, I have a winnable case. But when you look at the laws, precedents, and everything, they might not. And this is what I'm saying. With that case, I was of the view that the employee would have been warned about the situation, and then they fired her on the same thing. And learning from the court that the warning letter didn't satisfy the labor code. So that's new learning for me. So I know on the next case I would not present anything along that line because I now understand what the court thinks about a written warning. It must satisfy the law, which means you must say what you're going to do if there's a repetition of the situation. And that was not in the letter of warning to the employee. So we lost that case. And we have a number of cases that myself and Brother Kofi, who's in-house lawyer, is working on. And, I think we have some, he has always approached me as the person has been going to industrial court to say, how do you think? Wow. Even though he's a lawyer, he still asks the question. And I'm going to say, you have lawyers who have called me because they always say, y'all do it every day. I want to hear what the lawyer says.
So lean into your experience.
And sometimes when it's legal situation, we can lean on them too. So it's a work situation between the parties. Okay. And as you're aware, we work with Justin Simon, our in-house lawyer, and most times we have good conversation on matters because it's always good to have a second view.
Correct.
You might have a view of it. You might think it this way, but then another person can show you another angle to deal with it. So, I would say, as a person who has been, I'm now at the union for 17 plus years. I think I've developed as a person, one, for even with speech, how I present myself. And I always say I must carry myself in a good manner because I represent the union, whether I'm at work
Yeah.
or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, everybody that sees me, they're going to see the president of the union, or they're going to see Mr. Riley that has to come and represent. And if you behave badly, then how do you look up? They don't look up to you. And we always said that even to the shop stewards, you must be the example. People must not be seeing the shop steward always in trouble, always getting disciplined.
Correct.
You cannot represent somebody if that's how you're going to go before management. The first thing they're going to say, how are you going to get that person to represent you? And I've, as I said, tried myself to always listen to people and have good conversation with people.
Yeah, yeah. A few things that I want to ask you, and then I have so many things really, but we don't have enough
That's
time.
time.
But I'm going
Yes.
to try to get into them quickly,
Yes.
and you can respond. One of the things that I've really found from listening to you for these past minutes is that you're always willing to learn. It might be new experiences, a new job. You spoke about how you moved from Premier Beverages into St. James and then over to Jumbe
Jump
Bay.
again.
It was always a learning experience. So I just wanted to just elaborate a bit on the importance as workers in the world of work, that the importance of being open to learning new things, making shifts and pivoting in your career, because the world of work is a dynamic space, right? So I just wanted to elaborate a bit on that for us.
One of my advice to employees
Mm-hmm.
when they call and say, they're giving me something to do that is not my job.
Mm.
So they want me to serve something in the bar, and I'm a waitress. The question I ask them, how do you elevate from a waitress to a bartender? You have to do the practice.
Yeah.
From time to time, you have to do it. If you never do it, then you cannot move from a waitress to a bartender.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always look at it, it's not my job. Because after you learn the job, nobody can take the job from you.
Wow.
And you can then apply to another place and say, I have bartender skills.
Correct.
So even if there's not the position there where you're working, you can then apply someplace else. And a lot of people call and say, oh, they're telling me to do this and telling me to do that. What I would say to them, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it becomes the norm where they're now exploiting you,
Yeah.
is when now you take the action and decision. Because if they have a vacant position for the role and they're not giving you, but they're always telling you to do it,
Yeah.
then is where you deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know that it's because somebody calling sick, they're asking you to do it and those kind of things, you take the teaching, you take the learning. And I'm hopeful that employees understand where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah.
Because everything is not compensation now.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that's what most people look at. No, 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 not for later.
Yeah.
If you're a young person, you have a lot in you. And that's the reason why initially I wasn't vying for presidency, because I'm still a young person, I would say, and have a lot of time in the union. So I'm sure that, one of the time I could have been a president. Maybe now I could have been a president if somebody else was. So it's not that, as a young person, you have more opportunity, you have more time. Do not think that everything now is for pay. Sometimes it's for the experience, that when you're doing your resume, that you can put it on there and you're more attractive at another place that you're going to.
Excellent. Other item. We know the challenges of dealing with employers, but talk to me from the perspective of a union officer about the challenges of dealing with workers, employees, the people that you have to represent.
Well, sometimes yes, it's a pain,
Mm-hmm.
but if you love what you do, then you overlook the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And employees look for representation at its highest, and they always expect you to be there, return a call immediately, even though they hear that you're in in a meeting. But as I always say, I pride myself on calling back people, because if a person leave a message, then you should. That is just natural. But employees are sometimes the ones who let the benefits that we negotiate for them get eroded.
Oh.
Sick is one of the biggest things. So in some collective agreement, we have a extended amount of sick days. A new collective agreement, because of the behavior of the employees, either calling in sick, sending in sick paper, unable, no shows, and those kind of things, the employer don't want to agree to more than the labor code, which is 12 days. So employees are the one, and anybody at any union office can tell you that every time we go around the table to speak about wage increases, they always point to the amount of money they have to pay in sick days. And the employees must remember, when you're sick, they bring in somebody, and if they bring in somebody on their day off, it's a double time.
Cost, yeah.
So they're paying for that one day 3 times.
Yeah.
So, most times, maybe we could get more in negotiation with regards to wage increase, but the company always point to the fact that they had to expend monies to sick. So what they could have given in an increase, they can't do that. And those are the things that I would want employees to understand. Nobody is saying that if you're sick, that you're not sick.
Yeah.
But if you're not sick and you're abusing the sick, is what the union will frown upon. We don't want you to do it. The labor code is clear. It's you're incapacitated for work. That's when you're sick. Not because, and a lot of people is going to say sickness don't come in the form of a cold anymore. It's sometimes a mental situation, sometimes, it's something that you're going through.
Yeah.
So, but employers have to start to also recognize that, sickness is not just the cold business or your hand hurting or you broke your foot and those kind of things. It's mental now, it's all kind of things. And we must realize that, employees have to secure their work. Employees must understand now, and our conference team is about technology,
yeah.
and the new work, the new navigating the new workforce. They have to start to reskill themselves, because if technology takes over, the hand and going and pushing that we're accustomed to will be no more.
Yeah.
So the new employees coming in, I know we have a lot of university and we have one in Antigua now. Don't just stay in my day, I just went to state college. My mommy was a struggling mommy, so I had to go work to help her.
Yeah.
I don't know if the same with what is happening now. There wasn't any campus here that we could have gone to. Everybody was traveling, and bearing in mind I used to go to St. Joseph Academy, so a lot of those students and my fellow classmates had some money.
Yeah.
they were the shawls and bentos and those kind of things, so they had money that could have gone to university. We could not have. I could not have. So I did go into to work to assist my mom, because I know she was a struggling person and she did work hard to put us to school, and it was our turn to assist with our siblings.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we wrap up our conversation, just leaning into what you just mentioned, you just spoke about the importance of retooling, training, education, being willing to learn. Apart from those, what would you say is the most important piece of advice you can give to workers?
Well, the advice I will always give to workers is always to perform. Always do your best, because we are quite aware that when season and in hotels become slow, is the ones that don't perform is always either lay off or given short work week. And if they're supposed to bring you back afterwards, they're going to look at your performance.
Yeah.
Keep away from the unnecessary sick days. If you're sick, the union will support that you're sick and you can't go to work. But when the company come and show that it's not a sick leave that and you've already gone 28 days and plus, then there is a need for concern. So your performance and your carrying out of your daily duties is what will help you in the future. You'll be more marketable. I'm sure when you leave there, you'll get a good recommendation because of how you perform. And that's all employers ask for, really, is the employees to come to work and perform. And the union have to support. That performance is one of the things that drive the company to either make profit that can allow them to get more benefits and more increase. If not, then if the company is going on the financial situation, then you're going to be losing jobs. So I would advise any employees to perform.
Excellent. Thank you again, Brother Riley, for spending time with us here on the Workers Podcast. Well, you've been watching and listening to another edition of the Workers Podcast. I'm Anderson Edgel. Thank you for joining us, and do join us again next time. Bye-bye.